I'm outside for nightly chicken time. We are just kind of under the assumption that bird flu is no longer here. We've been letting them out for about a month since the weather started turning hot, which it did very, very early. They've been fine, so knock on wood, this was a good choice, and they are so much happier being outside. I'm still only doing like 2 different times of the day, like at noon when I come out, and they usually put themselves back in for nap time, so that's why I do that, and then at night because they usually put themselves in for bed, so it makes just rounding them up so much easier. I thought I'd share a little bit more of my story, and the piece of my story that I've been thinking about lately is that I historically have been someone who is not easily satisfied. Even when I get to that thing that I wanted, I'm happy there for a short amount of time, and then I am craving change. I'm craving something different. I'm craving something new because I just love beginnings so much. I love ideas. I love starting. I don't love finishing so much. I tend to just kind of disappear from things without an ending, and I don't really know why that is, but it's kind of what I do. And I would say that since having this garden, it is the most calm and peaceful and satisfied I have felt. And possibly it's because there's constant change in the garden. Like, you put the cabbage and lettuce in, and then they're gone before your summer crops are even like ready to give you harvest. And so you're like always anticipating, you're always creating, you're always looking for a new place to put a plant, or expanding a garden bed, or building something up, going vertically, going, it's just like endless possibility. And I would say having my hands in the soil, breathing the soil. I read somewhere that when we breathe in the soil, it's like this hit of oxytocin in our body. That's wild. That's magical. So like if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a hard time and I come out to the garden, I am instantly lifted. And I do have to force myself out. It's not like I just easily wander out and I'm like, yay, let me do all this work. I have to force myself out, especially on the days that don't call me out weather-wise, that don't like beckon to me because the sun's shining, or, those are the days that are harder for me. Having chicken helps, having dogs help because you got to go outside for them, you've got to be outside. That definitely helps. But anyway, so since having these garden spaces, I have felt that thing inside of me that just can't be like satiated, it feels calmer, it feels at peace. And I always have lots of projects, so that's probably not going away. If that's just who I am, I reinvent myself all the time, and right now I'm basically looking to do that right now, trying to figure out like how I want to show up, when I want to show up, where I want to show up, and what is that going to look like. And I just have found myself like just loving coming out and making videos, even though I'm finding that it's a challenge with so many kids around and there's a lot of noise and there's a lot going on. If I can get out here and just find some time and find some space, the creative process of thinking of an idea and following it through, I like that it's so short, that you can start and end in such a little amount of time. Like, this video is complete on its own. But I thought I do want to tell more story. I want to connect with the story, because when I find a YouTube account, a YouTube channel that is new to me and I love, I go to the beginning and I look for the story. I search for the story, and I'll spend a lot of time trying to find that story. So if I love it, that means other people love it, and so I thought I would sprinkle some of that in. There's our friends coming to visit. So I'll just be sharing more, telling you what's going on, trying to bring you into more of the day-to-day, trying to turn the camera on a little bit more often. Like now when I'm sitting with the chicken and just taking a few minutes to come and chat. It's nice to chat with you. So a little bit of background is that I started working as a health coach about 13 years ago, almost 14 years ago. I went to school in New York to a school called the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and became a health coach. And really it just grew into so much more. I would just follow my passions, follow my passions, follow my passions. I taught about joy, I've taught making home, I've taught about, sacred space, I've taught about surrender, magic making, so many different things. And now I'm teaching a program called Sacred Roots where I go through each season and kind of write about what the lessons of that season are for me, and then try to share prompts with the circle to encourage them to just take a deeper look and just be more in sync with seasonal living, with the cycles that are around us. My chicken are running away. I knew they were going to do that. I knew they were going to see me on camera and run away. Watching little chicken butts run away is very funny. Yeah, they're going to go to the front yard. I got to go get them. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, shrooms. Bring everybody back. Bring everybody back. Come on. Everybody's here except the two broody hens that are both at the moment occupying the same nesting box and won't leave. Come on, let's go. Let's go. I'm not picking you up. I'm not picking you up. I'm moving you. So then when the pandemic happened, I just started to reevaluate like what I was doing and how busy I was and how much time I was spending online. And I kind of started to think like, how much money do I actually need to live? And I started to figure it out. And I was able to take my first summer off. And I made a decision to reduce my income pretty drastically, and that has given me a lot of space. And it's also been tough. It's been tough to figure out how to live differently, how to be more frugal, but it's also been incredibly healing and wonderful. And my partner at the same time has increased his income, and so we're looking for creative ways, like thinking outside the box so that we can be together more, we can be with our family more, we can be more present, and we're not always just out chasing the dollar. And so part of that has been growing our own food, buying food in bulk, like buying a quarter cow, putting that in the freezer, just working really hard to figure out how to make this all work. And so while I'm working less, I'm still working, but it's in a different way. And after 13 years, it really felt like I needed to shift a little bit. I still love doing my circles. I love writing. I love writing more than I like this because this is hard for me. Writing is so much easier for me. But this is becoming more comfortable over time. And so that's where we are, that's what we're doing. And then we have a blended family. So Dave and I both are divorced, and this is our second marriage, even though we're not officially married. And we've blended families, so kids from two different families. And our commitment is to stay in this area, to stay in this property until all the kids graduate from high school, which will be 6 years from now. And so that means that in 6 years, we can then go and buy a ton of land, buy a farmhouse, or build a house, or whatever it will be. So we are spending a lot of time dreaming. The other day, Dave and I went online just to look. We were looking actually in New Hampshire, like farmland and properties. And, you know, there's just beautiful stuff out there. So I believe in 6 years, they'll be exactly our home. I believe that our home right now is being tended to by some special family. I believe that apple trees are being planted and pear trees are growing, just like we're doing here for the family who will then take over this property. And because gardening, like building this huge 2,000 square foot farm garden on suburban property could be a little risky, but it is my feeling that because people are starting to return to the land, they're starting to return to more homesteading ideas and philosophies to live more in tune with what you can do yourself, that this will actually be like, this is waiting for the family who is like me and who maybe needs to live in a suburban area and wants to have a little orchard in their yard and a potager garden and a fenced in beautiful garden and maybe even a chicken coop or two. And we never know, you know, you don't know, but that's what I'm dreaming into. So we won't have a tractor here, we won't have goats here, but that will be in the next phase of our life. And it seems like we think, oh, 6 years feels forever away, but we've been in this house for 5 years and it feels like a blink. So I'm reminding myself, don't be impatient. It's right there. Enjoy these 6 years, learn everything you can in these 6 years, create amazing things in these 6 years, lean deeper into your brand of magic, my brand of magic in 6 years. And then it will be just an amazing surprise what is waiting on the other side.
I thought I'd show you a few changes that I made. I decided that there's just not enough sun for my brilliant squash bed that turned out to not be brilliant. I have moved 2 of them over to this side because there are a couple more hours of sunlight here than in the back, and I thought if we could just start the growth over the trellis like this, then lots of the leaves would get lots of sun. Still don't know if it's the best idea, but that's what I've got so far. So I do have to kind of adjust that. Then these beautiful bachelor buttons, they're called black button. Let's get nice and close here. Have started to bloom. They're the first of the flowers, along with the alyssum. That was already flowering, so that was a cheat. And then a couple days later, this happened. I didn't even remember planting an orange calendula, but apparently I did, and I'm so thrilled. It's beautiful. Oh, I lied. It wasn't the first of the flowers. The chrysanthemum, the Tong Ho big leaf, were the first flowers, so those are doing really well. Beautiful. What else did I want to show you? Update on my flower distractions from the strawberries. Doesn't work. Don't even waste your time. I'm not even sure how rocks would work, so we are probably going to need to cover these with a net. It just is what it is. Then the next thing, this needs new flower. This is just like a total disaster. It was not what I was hoping it would be. When I bought these, I thought these were all white. This was supposed to be all white. And then all these colors started popping up, and I'm very color sensitive and I don't like this at all. So I have to redo that. Anyway, this. So we have more lettuce than we'll ever need in a lifetime in this garden, and I do this every year, but that is the deer tongue lettuce that was also over here. And I gave it to the chicken. I pulled it out, gave it to the chicken, and planted a bunch of bush beans over here. There's still plenty of sunlight because the peas aren't even halfway up the side of the trellis yet. Most likely, a lot of the lettuce will end up with the chicken. This is the Perpetual Spinach. It looks amazing. These peas are doing really well. The magnolia tendril is doing really well. But one of the things I wanted to say was that when I planted the peas, on this side I just did 1 row of peas, and on this side I did 2 rows of peas, and 100% 2 rows of peas is the way to go when you're doing a trellis. I'm even wondering if you could do 3 but that might be a little dense. But you can see just the thickness. It's just perfect with the two. This is the Chijimasai, which has gone to flower, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's delicious. I'll probably harvest a bunch of this in the morning and eat it. Eat it for breakfast with eggs. I need to harvest arugula, which is looking beautiful. Sweet potatoes have finally started to grow in. You can see they've really leafed out, and I think all of them have actually done okay. They probably could use a little bit of rain, but the straw is for sure helping. Things are going pretty well. Let me show you the irises. I actually did not realize that irises had such a short life. I planted my sunflowers out, but when I plant them, I put a jar over them, and it gives them a head start, gives them a chance to grow a little bit and strengthen up before any animals want to come. So all of my sunflowers are in mason jars. This has worked for a few things. Now this one is getting a little bit tall. You can see it's like probably not going to last much longer in there. These are the foxtail lilies, and they are so close to blooming. They're taller than I am. They're going to be so pretty. And then this is basically what I call the iris bed. But what happened is it was just this strip along the fence. And as all good things do, we have decided to expand it. So this entire area in here, including the two pear trees, will become part of this new garden space. Dave was just like struggling to mow back there. Really wasn't working. So I am certainly happy to take more spaces to plant. So I've got 2 roses planted now, Cinco de Mayo roses. That is a Gara and another Gara here. And these tulips will all be gone soon. And I will lay down the rest with cardboard. I ran out of cardboard, but I'll keep adding cardboard in. And then I put compost, and then I put wood chip. So the iris garden has expanded quite a bit, which is great because the irises actually clump and they get bigger every year. So I'll be able to divide those. And then I've got dahlias planted back there, lilies planted back there, and sunflowers planted back there, so that all year long there is a flush of flowers going. So something beautiful will always be happening over there. Cottage garden is looking pretty. It's not very colorful right now, but I've got the firecracker vine planted over here, and I made a wooden trellis for that to climb up. I just have to cut the string off, and then hopefully the climbing rose will do something this year. And now it's chicken bedtime. We'll put these little babies to bed. Chloe's making brownies, so I'm gonna head in. As always, thank you for being here. Appreciate you.